Alright, so we're almost ready to build our Notes app, but we just need to see how to create an alert dialog first off. So I'm going to do this all in code using our onCreate method. So just after all the shared preferences code. And we're going to do all of this in one line, although it's going to be quite a long line. That starts with new alert dialog dot builder. So as you can imagine, this builds an alert dialog for us. A dialog box is one of those boxes that appears, usually that asks you whether you want to delete something or do something serious. And we're creating it within the context of the app, so that's this. And then we can actually do this all on one line, but usually we do it on separate lines to keep everything more straightforward, more readable. So first of all, we're going to set the icon, and we're going to use the standard alert icon, which is android.r.drawable.ic, and you can see we've got a bunch of ones there. We'll go for IC alert. Then we'll set the title. So this is the text that we want to appear. Whoops, I don't want to end the command yet. So we'll have something like, "Are you sure?" Then we want to set the message. So this is the more detailed, "Do you definitely want to do this?" Something like that. Then we'll set the positive button. So it's usually something like yes. And then usually we'd want to run some kind of code when this is clicked. So we're going to create a new onClick listener. There it is, and it creates all our code for us. So for now, we'll just put log button tapped, and the button is yes. We're not quite done yet. We've got to set the negative button. So that's just setting the text for it, no. And then usually we don't need to do anything when the negative button is pressed because it means that they don't want to do whatever it is, but we could add an onClick listener there if we wanted as well. And then we've set all the options that we need, so we just have to show the dialog. And that's it. So all reasonably clear, I think, what's going on there. Yes, I've forgotten to say that because I don't want an onClick listener there, I do need to specify that we definitely don't want an onClick listener. So just put null there to say that we are not going to do anything when the no button is tapped. Here we go, and that's how it looks. So everything is faded into the background apart from this button. There's the title, there's the dialog alert icon, and there's our messages. And whatever we do, it will disappear. But if we tap yes, then we'll get a note in the logs, button tapped yes. If we tap no, nothing would happen. Okay, that's pretty much it. I just want to set you a quick challenge now, which will use everything that we've learned in the last 3 lectures and give you a chance to put it all together. So I want you to pretend that we're making an app which requires the user to choose their default language. So if they haven't chosen yet, a dialog box should appear when they load the app, which asks them to choose between, say, English and Spanish. The 2 languages don't really matter. It then saves that preference using shared preferences. They load the app again, it doesn't ask them anything. But if they click the button at the top, then they get the option again to change their language. And that setting is then saved permanently. That's it. Slightly complicated explanation, so go back and listen to that if you need to again. But otherwise, good luck. This should give you an opportunity to put all of this together in a single app. Go for it. All right, hope that went well. It really is just a matter of using everything that we've learned in the last 3 videos. So I'll call this languages example. API 22, blank activity, finish. All right, so I'll start with the shared preferences first off. So in onCreate, just as we did before, we'll create a shared preferences variable called shared preferences, which is this.get shared preferences. And then I'm going to copy my package name in as a string and add the mode private. There it is. To say that only this app can access this information. Then I'm going to attempt to get the chosen language from shared preferences. So that's going to be shared preferences.getString language, and the default is going to be just the empty string. And then if it is empty, so if chosen language is equal to the empty string, then we want to display the dialog box. So it's a new alert dialog .builder using this as the context, and then we'll set the icon same as before, android.r.drawable.ic dialog alert. Then we'll set the title, which language do you want? Then we'll set the message. Do you want English or Spanish? Then we'll set the positive button. So notice the positive button doesn't have to mean yes. It can mean anything you like. So I'll choose English for that one. And then we'll set a new on-click listener. They're trying to predict it for me there. There we go. And then here I want to change the chosen language to English. So I'll use shared preferences .edit .put string, and we want to set language to English. Then we'll set the negative button to Spanish, and again we're going to create a new on-click listener, and here we'll set the shared preferences and put a string, same name as before, but the value of course is going to be Spanish. And then show. Okay, so that will show the alert box. Got an error there somewhere. Maybe not. Let's try running that. Nope, we do indeed have an error. I think we've got an extra close curly bracket somehow. These things happen. So the first time we run the app, we should find that we get that alert box, and then we'll choose English or Spanish. So I'll go for Spanish. And then we'll run the app again. And this time we should find that we don't get the alert box. Oh, I thought I'd leave that in so you can have a good laugh at me. What have I forgotten? I've forgotten the .apply. Without the apply, it won't actually save. So let's try it again. So it's Spanish, and then run it again. This time, we definitely won't get the alert box. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, and I think what would be nice is if we do have a chosen language, just to display that in the message. So let's just get that text view. We'll just use the default one. r.id. Text view, is it not there? Maybe it doesn't have an ID by default. Yeah. There we go. Try again. Great. So now just use text view, set text to chosen language. Okay. So now we're just going to edit the menu so that the user can update the language. So I'll just use the text language. We'll set the ID to change language. Try and spell that correctly. Show as action always. And I'll leave the ordering category in for the moment. It doesn't matter. I'll just copy that ID so that I definitely get it right. When we scroll down now, we just change the ID to change language. In fact, it's probably better to let it auto predict just to make sure that it's there. And now we actually want to do the same thing that we did here. We want to pop up an alert to let the user choose their language. So I'm actually going to put that into a separate method rather than have the code repeated twice. So we'll have public void show alert. And that just shows the alert. We'll need to instigate shared preferences again. There we go. And then we'll choose show alert there. And show alert there as well. And also it'd be nice to update the chosen language when the buttons have been tapped. And I'll be very slightly lazy and just copy the text here into both of these. So here we'll update the text to Spanish. And here we'll update it to English. And we're going to need to define that text view outside of the onCreate method so that we can access it in both locations. Okay, so now our app should work completely as we want. So initially when it pops up, it should do nothing, but we should be able to choose the language button. There you go. So you can see we've got Spanish selected there. If I change it to English, that's updated there. And then if I run it again, we should see English displayed. Fantastic. Okay, so I hope you managed that, and I hope that helped you get to grips with shared preferences, alert dialogues, and the action bar buttons. And we're going to put all that together and a lot more in our Notes app in the next lecture.